A deal is reached to end Nigeria's crippling fuel crisis. Kenya's wheelbarrow ambulances save women in labor. And concerns that weaves might be damaging hair persuade more African women to go natural. Africa 54 starts right now.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Vincent McCory. This is Africa 54. Tonight, police in Burundi have surrounded a number of neighborhoods in the capital Bujumbura, confining people to their homes to stop them from taking to the streets to protest the president's bid for a third term in office. Residents reported early morning gunshots on Tuesday in several neighborhoods where roads are blocked and businesses closed after a month of protest against President Pierre Nkurunziza. One resident, Claude, who did not wish to give his full names, says he is worried that civilians are being targeted.
What I'm worried about is the threats the police are using towards the civilians. They are killing the citizens by shooting at them. Protesters are not armed, but the police are shooting at us. We were working, but now we cannot go to work due to the presence of police in our neighborhood.
Now, for the latest developments in Burundi, VOA's Edward Rema joins us by phone from Bujumbura. Good evening, Edward.
Good evening, Vincent McCory. How are you doing in Washington?
I'm fine. Now, tell us a little more about this strategy by the security officials in Bujumbura of confining people to their neighborhoods.
What's happening is that most of these protesters are trying all their best to march into the center where they think that they would carry on with their demonstration and protesters. So with that, the police and the army are trying all they can so that they can find those protesters from their own neighborhoods in order to stop the escalation of protests throughout the city of Bujumbura. Like today's protests were concentrated in the neighborhoods of Bujumbura that include districts of Buiza, areas of Jabe, Nyakabiga, and Buyenzi. What is interesting today is this new other area that protested today, which is Buyenzi, the neighborhood that is mostly inhabited by Muslims. And the reason why they come out to protest is because of the Saturday killing of one of the opposition leader. His name is Feruz, who happens to be a Muslim. So today in Buyenzi, for the first time, we saw protests and people barricading stones and cars to stop the police and the army to get into the neighborhood.
Now, talking about this demonstration spreading to other areas, government officials are saying demonstrations have been happening in really few places around Bujumbura. What can you verify?
Yeah, these neighborhoods, especially the neighborhoods in Nyakabiga, Buiza, Jabe, areas that are mostly inhabited by youth, and most of these youth are either unemployed, most of them are jobless, and most of them are also from different opposition parties. So I would say that these neighborhoods are either called by senior government officials of neighborhoods that inhabit or neighborhoods that have people from the opposition, which is the reason why we see most of these demonstrations and protests taking place in most of these neighborhoods.
Looking at some of the events there from the narrow lens of the camera, you get the sense that Bujumbura is almost about to explode. What is your sense of things since you arrived there?
Well, one thing I would tell you is as somebody who has been to Bujumbura before, it's very strange to see a city that one would say that is either deserted. You don't see a lot of staff, or you don't see a lot of business happening in Bujumbura. Most of the hotels are reporting number of very few visitors. Most of the businesses are closed because most of the people that are supposed to be in the city center are confined in their neighborhoods, which makes the city hard to get to.
All right. Thank you very much, Eddie. That is VOA's Edward Rema reporting from Bujumbura in Burundi. Now, in Kenya, Tuesday, Islamist militants from Somalia attacked two police patrols, triggering a gun battle in a rural area hit by a string of cross-border raids. Al-Shabaab fighters claimed they had killed 25 Kenyan officers, But the police force says only one of its men died in the firefight and 4 had been wounded. The Al-Qaeda-linked militants say they ambushed the police about 70 kilometers north of Garissa town, a town where the terrorists raided a university and killed 148 people in April. Now, to West Africa, despite the end of field strikes, Nigerians in the capital city of Lagos continue to feel the impact of chronic shortages as queues of vehicles and people, jerrycans formed at petrol stations. Oil-rich Nigeria is suffering acute gasoline, diesel and aviation fuel shortages due to a strike by marketers and distributors over non-payment of government subsidies. Nigerian fuel marketers agreed to resume distribution on Monday after weeks of disruption, but drivers remain frustrated by a seemingly endless wait for fuel as the first petrol stations started reopening.
I was coming back from my home, I said I was selling fuel here, so I had to queue for the fuel. I'll be here for 7 o'clock. Since the queue is not moving, maybe they're turning to only a jerry can, not car alone. Maybe they say one car and about 5 to 6 jerry cans. But I'll be here since 7 o'clock here, and I've not even gone anywhere. There's no fare yet.
Although Nigeria is Africa's biggest oil producer and has the continent's largest economy, it has to subsidize gasoline and import the bulk of the 40 million liters a day that it consumes due to a neglected refining system. A dilapidated and grossly inadequate power grid means businesses and households depend on diesel and gasoline for electricity, so shortages cause major disruptions when private generators ground to a halt.
We are not happy because of the heat. We are not happy because we cannot even see any light. We are not happy because we are not seeing power to pump our water.
With an impending change in government on May 29th, stakeholders across the fuel supply chain are concerned that the incoming government may not pay out the remaining subsidy debt. Marketers say they are owed nearly $1 billion.
This man that is coming in now, I mean Buhari, before he can really get everything together, it's going to take a while, and because this government now has really spoiled everything, things are upside down for now.
Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan hands over power on Friday to Muhammadu Buhari, whose party has accused the outgoing administration of engineering the crisis. President-elect Buhari is expected to closely review the subsidy scheme, which was revealed to have paid out over $6 billion in fraudulent claims in 2012. Now, for the latest on the fuel crisis, Olu Phillips, Channel TV's energy correspondent, joins us live by phone from Lagos. Hello, Olu.
Hi, good. Well, it's good evening here from Lagos, Nigeria.
Exactly. Now, Finance Minister Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala has actually accused fuel importers and marketers of holding the country to ransom after they did shut down the depots, saying they haven't been paid $1 billion in subsidy payment. Now, tell us, is this true?
Well, what I can tell you is that part of the crisis we have between the marketers and the Federal Ministry of Finance, talking about the federal government, is the disagreement over what amount really is the subsidy claim. While the Ministry of Finance is saying that the claims of the marketers are quite frivolous, and the marketers are also insisting that they're owed close to $1 billion, that led to the quagmire where we are today. So until verifications are done, we can't say for sure if the claims of the marketers are in place or not. That quagmire led to the shutdown of what we're currently experiencing until yesterday when that decision was taken to actually resolve this, pending when that verification is done. So they've gone back to business for now. The exact amount is what nobody is really sure until these guys actually come up with their claims and their bank documents.
Now, there are some in the incoming government, Buhari administration, that are saying this is a manufactured crisis by the outgoing Goodluck Jonathan government. Do citizens feel generally that might be the case?
For the citizens who don't really understand the workings of the energy industry and the energy sector in Nigeria, will be forced to think in the direction they're thinking right now, because it's a government that has been voted out. It's a government that people said to have developed a lot of apathy for, and so wanted a change. And so if this is happening at the twilight of the administration, logically, that suggests why a lot of people think this is galvanized by the outgoing government. But bear in mind again that the truth is that there are some payments to be made. What is not certain is how much. The federal government has not said they are not owing, and the marketers have also agreed that they have been owed. But the problem is, somewhere down the line, there's a suspicion from the angle of the marketers that the new incoming government may not want to pay the amount of money they are claiming, and so may not be able to continue to do business. So they want to collect all their monies before May 29. I think that's where we are. We don't know how this is going to happen. But whether it is together by the outgoing government or not, truth is the federal government of Nigeria that is currently seated right now has not paid up all that is owed as far as subsidy is concerned. Bear in mind again that petroleum products are being subsidized here in Nigeria heavily by the federal government. They are fixed prices, and so they must pay the differential in the landing cost based on the agreements and based on the LCs opened to the marketers, and also based on the sovereign debt note issued to the marketers.
Yeah, well, it's going to take long to resolve this because the new president has to review all these things. Thanks a lot, Olu Phillips of Channels TV, reporting live from Lagos. Now, the Development Bank of Africa, the African Development Bank, rather, is marking its 50th anniversary with a series of meetings throughout this week in Abidjan, Ivory Coast. The meetings will culminate in the election of the next president of the organization. Africa 54's Linord Moudou is attending the meetings, and now she joins us by phone from Abidjan. Hello, Linord.
Hello, Vincent.
Yes, now give us a sense of what has been happening since yesterday when these meetings began.
A lot is happening here in Abidjan. More than 4,500 people are attending the annual meetings of the African Development Bank under the theme Africa and the New Global Landscape. The occasion also celebrates the Golden Jubilee of the bank, 50 years, which was created in 1964, actually, with the mission to promote sustainable economic growth and reduce poverty in Africa. So there are a lot of meetings. There are also some campaigning because, as you know, the next president will be elected.
Yes. Now, before we get there, what are some of the highlights of the agenda throughout this week?
So some of the highlights, let me say that more than 5 heads of states are here, including the president of Benin and Gabon, and they discuss the need for governments to really scale up the investment in different sectors to ensure that there is economic growth moving forward in Africa. Health was also on the agenda, discussing if Africa is ready for the next crisis and what will it take. Among other things, they talked about the importance of investment in infrastructures such as roads and water, which are essential in good health. Also, the status of women was on the agenda, and the ADB unveiled its first ever gender equality index for Africa, titled The Empowering African Women, an Agenda for Action.
Great. Now, the outgoing president, Donald Kaberuka, who has been at the helm for the last 8 years, what is his legacy? What are people saying?
So Donald Kaberuka has been heading the bank for the past 10 years. This year will mark his 10th year. And he has been credited with steering the bank through the tumultuous 2008 financial crisis and ramping up infrastructure lending. Also, the bank has acquired a AAA rating, which is very important for a financial institution, under his leadership. So these are some of the things that people are talking about. Of course, you will find some people that have some sentiment that more should be done, not enough has been done. But the general sentiment is that he has left a positive legacy to the bank.
Okay. Linord, thanks a lot. Excellent reporting there. Africa 54's Linord Moudou reporting live from the African Development Bank meetings in Abidjan, Ivory Coast. Now, I want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54. And check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Coming up, how unusual ambulances are saving lives in a Nairobi slum. Stay with us.
I am Sheikh Asali, host and senior editor of VOA's international calling talk show, Straight Talk Africa.
Today we'll examine the tobacco industry.
We pretty much touch on anything that you can think of. Politics, health issues, human rights issues, you name it, we talk about it. The issues that we discuss are pertinent to most people on the African continent. A very, very rare and unique opportunity to interact with their leaders.
How do you see the world?
I see countries in turmoil.
I see our planet changing.
I see people at peace.
No matter how you see the world, you'll get an unbiased and uncensored view of it on Voice of America. On television, radio, online, and mobile. In more than 40 languages all day, every day. Millions of people tune us in.
How do I see the world? On Voice of America.
Welcome back. Now, living in Kenya's Kibera slum is tough under any circumstances, but the challenges of slum life are more difficult for pregnant women in need of regular care. But now, caregivers have come up with a unique way of rushing expectant ladies and the sick to hospital. Linord Moudou has more.
It is not a five-star ambulance and lacks the normal equipment regular vehicles do. However, for the sick and needy in Kibera, the wheelbarrow ambulance is crucial and it's saving lives.
Mothers who are pregnant, about people who are sick, not able to come to the facility, and there's no way they can be able to be even assisted to come. So we came up with this idea of a wheelbarrow ambulance to assist them.
The wheelbarrow itself is fitted with a mattress and a pair of bedsheets to cover the patient. Kibera is the largest slum in Nairobi, Kenya, with a population of about 500,000 people. Mariam is 5 months pregnant and too weak to walk to the hospital by herself, so she makes an emergency call to Queen Wambua, one of the health workers. They arrive in short time and she is rushed to the hospital. The health workers are equipped with first aid skills to ensure the patient is stable and to avoid more injuries during transportation. Their phone numbers are distributed to residents for faster communication. On a regular basis, the health worker teaches the locals basic health awareness and disease prevention techniques.
Each of us was given a couple of houses to go be educating. Personally, I have 88 houses. We teach them basic concepts like boiling water before drinking, washing hands after visiting the toilet. In short, we train them how to protect themselves against preventable diseases.
With its blaring siren and flashing emergency lights, this ambulance is always ready to respond to emergencies in the slum. With impassable roads lined with mud and swarms of people, this is the most effective mode of emergency transport in the slum.
We realized that pregnant women and regular patients had a problem getting to the hospital. Carrying them on our hands was tiresome. A group of people and I approached a donor who made us these wheelbarrow ambulances. This is because vehicles could not reach here. We opted for the wheelbarrow. It can trespass through these tiny roads.
The wheelbarrow ambulance helps pregnant women and bedridden patients who are unable to get themselves to the nearest medical facility. Eventually, Mariam gets to the hospital safely and is diagnosed with malaria. Adults pay the hospital a subsidy of about $1, while children pay 50 cents. Only 4 ambulances serve this population, and there are often delays picking up patients.
If you look at this wheelbarrow ambulance, it is only accessed at the the villages we are working with. If we could have more to access to the larger Kiberas community could be better.
Before the introduction of the wheelbarrow ambulance, doctors say that area mortality rates were higher. The African Medical Research Foundation, AMREF, is the brains behind the project. Their campaign, dubbed Stand Up for African Mothers, aims at reducing maternal mortality on the continent. AMREF hopes to increase the number of wheelbarrow ambulances and also provide car ambulances for patients who need a referral to a better equipped hospital. Meanwhile, for Nduge and other pregnant women in the slum, the wheelbarrow ambulance and the healthcare that comes with it has increased their chances of a safe delivery and a healthy baby. Linord Moudou, VOA News.
Now, Liberia has been Ebola-free since the beginning of May, and now the government's is discussing plans for erecting a national monument to remember the horrific time during which more than 4,000 Liberians died. One possible site is a cemetery outside Monrovia. It was built to get the crisis under control and symbolically stands for the magnitude of the human tragedy of the epidemic behind it. Beno Mushla has our report.
This is the cemetery at Disco Hill, an hour's drive from Monrovia. The place got its name from a disco that stood here until it was destroyed during Liberia's first civil war. The site was opened last December to bury Ebola victims safely and with dignity. When the Ebola crisis first broke out, Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf decreed that Ebola victims be cremated to get the crisis under control and stop one major cause of infection. This was a practice unheard of in Liberia. Worst of all, many victims' ashes were mixed together in the chaos of events, depriving relatives of the chance to say goodbye and commemorate their loved ones. At first, people believed the same would happen at Disco Hill.
People actually followed the drop-off cars to make sure that the bodies were not going to be disappeared. They're not going to be burnt.
Matt Ward is the safe burial manager with the American NGO Global Communities, which is in charge of the cemetery. He says his 100-plus Liberian co-workers can be very proud of what they achieved.
Once people started coming and seeing that their loved ones were actually being buried as close to Liberian tradition and Muslim traditions as the health circumstances allowed, people became a lot less reticent. The whole objective was to be able to stop the cremations and get people away from clandestine burials to avoid their loved ones being cremated. So I think we've been very successful, and that's a great feeling.
Many of those who were buried here were unknown. During the chaos, not everyone was properly identified upon admission or discharge from the hospital. During an outbreak, everybody has to be buried with safety precautions as a possible Ebola victim. Safe burial manager James Espuendo says they often buried 8 to 9 people a day here. This pace and the stress of laying unknown people to rest, often babies, then coming home and seeing his own children at play, took a toll on him.
Even my wife was somehow afraid because Ebola is the common saying that DV, if one get it, the whole family follows. So she was somehow afraid. When I even started where sometimes I go home, she somehow skeptical to come around me.
Oh no, what I did is I noticed that this has a crack.
Matt Ward says he feels Disco Hill would be an appropriate site for a national memorial to the crisis. Not with marble crosses and a perfectly manicured lawn like Arlington National Cemetery outside of Washington, but like a conventional Liberian cemetery with cement casings and more wild-growing plants. Beno Mushla, VOA News, Margibi County, Liberia.
Well, it's time now for a short break. Still to come on Africa 54. Concerns over hair damage and premature baldness have some African women embracing the natural trend. We'll be right back.
If you've just joined us, I'm Mariama Diallo, and here is a quick recap of today's headlines. In Burundi, early morning gunfire in the capital Bujumbura confines residents to their homes, preventing them from taking part in protests against the president's bid for a third term. In Nigeria, union leaders announced a deal ending Nigeria's weeks-long crippling fuel crisis. Burkina Faso begins exhumation of slain ex-leader Thomas Sankara, who was killed in a 1987 coup d'etat. Finally, in Libya, downed militia members fight government forces for control of the area near the Wetia military airbase west of Tripoli. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Welcome back. Now, bringing you today's What's Trending segment is the newest member of our Africa 54 team, Esther Githui-Ewart. Esther, it's great to have you with us.
Thank you, Vincent. Yes, What's Trending? It was a big bucks night for AIDS research at the Cannes Film Festival. A total of more than $30 million was raised at the Cinema Against AIDS Gala, more commonly known as AMFAR. A signed work by Pablo Picasso started off the bidding frenzy by selling for 600,000 euros, but a work by street artist Banksy from actor Leonardo DiCaprio's private collection bid better than Picasso by selling for more than 1 million euros, and even forced the Wolf of Wall Street star to briefly step out of the shadows. Next up, times are changing even the most traditional societies. A 57-year-old mother has placed India's first gay matrimonial advertisement seeking a groom for her son Harish, not an easy task in a country where homosexuality is illegal. Padma Iyer's ad read, "Seeking 25 to 40 well-placed animal-loving vegetarian groom for my son, 36, 5 feet 11 inches, who works with an NGO." The ad appeared in the Mumbai tabloid Midday. News reports about the advert went viral on social media sites such as Twitter and Facebook, with many users commending Iyer for breaking taboos in the largely conservative country. Potential groom Harish says that he was disappointed that 3 leading English newspapers had refused to publish the advertisement. And finally, many women enjoy experimenting with new hairstyles in a bid to find a both stylish and practical solution to daily hair care. Hairdressers in South Africa are being kept busy with the demand for weave hairstyles. The natural African hair is made into weaving rolls so that either natural or synthetic hair that is not the client's own can be attached by weaving. Putting a figure on the value of dry hair industry across Africa is not easy, as a great deal of it is in the informal sector. Euromonitor, a market research firm, says in a 2014 report that hair care products in South Africa saw their value grow by 6% in 2013. The study also reported a trend towards a demand for more natural hair products in South Africa. Products are increasingly specifying sulfate-free formulations on packaging. And that's what's trending today. Vincent, back to you.
Well, thanks a lot, Esther. That's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. For more news, tune in to VOA's evening radio show, Africa News Tonight, at 1800 UTC, and in the mornings to Daybreak Africa between 0300 and 0600 UTC, Monday through Friday. Thanks a lot for watching. From all of us here in Washington, have a good night.
Welcome to the Voice of America's News Words. This word is taken from a story about a recent climate deal reached between the U.S. and China.
Significant.
Chinese smokestacks put out more carbon dioxide than any other countries, more even than the world's largest economy, the United States. So Wednesday's announcement by U.S. President Barack Obama and Chinese President Xi Jinping was significant, says Duke University climate policy expert Tim Profeta.
When you say something is significant, you mean it is important. Something significant is special and worth noting.
Now, the next time you hear significant, you will know what this news word means.